Hey everybody, welcome back to the studio. My name is Nate Rasa. I'm joined with again Jay Choi, working it out for part 2 of our zombie apocalypse episode because it's just so juicy that you can't stop talking. I mean, I can't stop talking.
Well, we went on a lot of tangents actually.
Rush of ideas and just imagination and chaos. You know, you make things, you break things in the span of seconds just with your thoughts.
Kinesthetic style, but only within the mind.
Take a whole idea and deconstruct it and then rebuild it in a completely different way.
Swimming in chaos.
Welcome to
I
Just
can't
even
with
myself.
right
now.
Let's go.
You know how literally I just forgot that we went along to a lot of tangents? That's how far this is what NE looks like. Okay?
Yeah, it's NE can be fun. No, it's always fun, but it's a trip.
It is.
NE is kind of wild. But anyway, let's jump into it this time.
Okay, so the actual act of surviving, and because I've always thought that when it came to go down, my mind was always thinking, how long is this gonna last? Because you know how
how do you solve it, right? What's the key?
Yes, because at the end of the day, while it is safer to stay at home, barricade yourself, what if the government nukes your city because it's a hot zone?
True. You gotta
and
get
you
out
want to,
then.
right? So you
Right.
need to get up and move.
So it's kind of like Train to Busan then, right? You gotta go to the safe place.
Do you remember the manga/anime High School of the Dead?
I never watched it, but
it's so perverted. It's so much boobs going on. However,
wait, it's a webtoon, right?
Is it also? I don't even know about that. But
is it the one where they have those blobs? Are we not talking the same?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, never mind.
It is. The funniest part about it is, despite the eye popping, situation, because they go for shock value, kind of with the whole boobs to the face type of situation, because it was meant to kind of gauge your eyes. But the actual science behind it, the person actually did their research, and they talked. And one of the characters in the story was a nerd who happened to know a lot about guns and who happened to know a lot about typical tech, because the government ended up throwing a freaking nuke in one of the main cities of Tokyo, which ended up, I don't know if it was a nuke. It was either a nuke or an EMP bomb, which kind of killed all the computers. Which I don't know why they did that, but because they did
can the zombies use computers?
I don't know if it was that or if it's related to the bombing, because there was a bombing involved, but it did kill a lot of the computers in the surrounding area, that they used batteries that were not plugged into anything to have another source of electricity. So stock up on batteries.
Right, yeah. Okay, there's also this one, it's a webtoon. I think it's called Welcome Home, Home Sweet Home. It's called Sweet Home. And it's really good, but essentially they connect this little radio to their earphones, and when it starts buzzing, then you know that one of the monsters is nearby. And they're the main character, he's actually being consumed also. It's a psychological thing, so you fall to it psychologically. I read
Interesting.
half of what's out right now, and I read it about a year and a half ago, and I'm waiting. I don't know what I'm waiting for, but I want to read the rest at some point. Okay. But that's really good. I recommend that. And now I'm not talking about the topic at hand anymore again, but
okay, but right, so what my point being with the whole explosion or anything, you have to be constantly aware that you might be shot down by the government, especially if they're not discriminating between what's a zombie and what if you look disheveled too. Right? You could literally be oh, remember from Train to Busan, they started shooting people and they're oh, but I'm still human.
Yeah, that's
and can you blame them?
Yeah.
Really? I wouldn't really blame them, because they're ordered to shoot on site because of the safety. You don't want someone who's infected to sneak into the camp. You don't want that. So part of it is, gathering resources, but also making sure that if you need to be mobilized, you can. So your car has to be working. You
need resources. You need a backpack at the bare minimum.
Yes, and you need to learn how to drive multiple different kinds of vehicles.
Yeah. You have to be able to drive stick. If you can't drive stick,
I can't drive stick. That's actually one of my biggest flaws. I haven't been able to drive, and I need to drive.
You gotta learn,
soon.
It's honestly, it's not that hard to learn, but you should learn. I think that it would fulfill your SP wants.
Absolutely, confidence could just skyrocket in that kind of situation.
Yeah, just being able to say, "Hey, I could drive stick." It's
well, okay. And another thing I wanted to learn how to drive is one of those seafaring planes.
Oh.
Reasons being is I actually do want to somehow reach the coast, because if you get that, then you could transfer yourself to an island. and survive there. Live your
That's
life in
true.
isolation and not have to deal with that.
That's what you want anyway, right?
Exactly. At the end of the day, that's what I want. So,
Yeah.
because if you live in isolation, that way you can be separate from all the weirdness, right? And I don't think zombies can walk underwater.
Well, it depends on how intelligent these zombies are, because if the zombies can use one of those planes, it's over, obviously. But assuming the norm for movies, I guess, if they're like
that would freak me
unintelligent.
out so much. Like, I would hate it if we were all prepared and the zombie became intelligent. And you're like, why?
I know. At that point, I don't know. At that point, I'd be like, maybe you guys are the superior race now, and we'll just die. Like,
Just
honestly,
give up.
yeah.
Like, maybe
that,
fine,
yeah.
fine.
I think at that point, maybe I'd give up, or I'd be like, you could keep me as like a pet or something. I don't know. I could try to help.
I don't want to be eaten. You know, I don't want to have my guts thrown out.
Yeah, I want my guts in my body.
Yeah, like, this is why we have skin to cover it.
Yeah,
I want to see that.
I want to maintain a system at rest.
Plus, the whole, you know, did you remember the book, The Zombie Survival Guide?
Oh, I
love
did not read the whole thing, but yes.
I did not read the whole thing either, but I used to. This is a weird confession. I used to spend like every other week hanging out at the book club or the bookstore because I didn't want to buy it because I didn't have the money at the time, and I would just read a chapter.
I've done that with a lot of
getting
books.
my source.
Yeah.
Right? Because you did your research, but you didn't want to spend money on it.
For sure. Like I used to go to the Barnes and Noble near my house and then just sit there where like their little Starbucks is, and then I just bring a bunch of books and read them every week on Sundays.
And then put them back.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I'm not gonna buy it.
Yeah.
Like,
Done.
But, yeah.
Boom. So basically, yeah, that's like because how it is. Oh gosh, it would be so much fun. See, so here's another thing. When I was writing a story about this topic, because I have written a story about this topic, I thought of an ingenious way, or I thought of it as ingenious, but I'm not sure if this is. You have to criticize me with the TI if it actually works. But I've always believed that or at least held the opinion that if the zombie apocalypse does go down, your best bet is to detach yourself from any material possessions as possible. Like, you can't cry over, oh no, my computer got completely demolished because a zombie attacked and then I tripped over my cables or whatever.
I would be upset if it's like, oh no, my last water supply.
Yeah.
Like that.
However, I thought that it would be smart if you were to keep one small item, as I call it, like a token of your sanity, of the represents your psychological sanity.
So I actually I wear
you
this
like that idea
all the time. Yeah.
like
so I have something like that, and I use so this is like something I do also if I ever feel anxious or nervous, which isn't often, but if I do, then like I get my necklace and then I just like press on it, and like it's a little like pointy on some parts, and you can like feel it's like grounding, you know, like grounding.
There we go. Something that grounds you.
Yeah. So just something like that. Like, yeah, I agree. But also, like, if I lose it, I need to make sure I'm staying without it. You know, like.
That's the thing, though. I feel like
it's
supposed to be a tool for your sanity, but you're not supposed to be dependent on it.
Exactly. And I don't like to be dependent on anything. Period. So, like, I think. Well, except like myself and like just me, not even, and I love to stockpile resources, obviously, I'm an SP Dom, but like, you know, in the end, I know that the person I'm counting on is me.
Yeah, plus when you think about it, the only actual weapon is yourself. Your body should be a weapon in this situation. Right. So anything, like if you need to MacGyver anything around you, that is what you need to do. Right. Because, right, like you're more dangerous, your brain is more dangerous than whatever tool you hold. Because like you could hold a sword and you could be done with it and then cut yourself if you're not smart.
Right.
So,
and also you just need like a strong mind, which is hard to train, but it's something I think you need that.
Yeah, I feel like I would devote at least 10% if I were to be with a team of people, like somehow I colluded with a bunch of other survivors. I think my goal is to make sure everybody is sufficient enough that their mental state is strong enough. So I'm gonna like help them get to that point, because I feel like it would cost me my life if I didn't do that.
Right. Well, I also think that it would have to be like we all have the conversation of, if you are the sole survivor out of us, what is your plan? And we each have to know our plan, you know, or like, what if we lose like the person who's in charge of us? Like there's like 10 of us, and then the brain, what if we lose them? What's the next plan? You know, I want them to outline what happens.
Well, and if you have an emotionally compromising situation, let's say you got traumatized because you saw a Barbie doll that used to be your whatever, it reminded you of your sister, and then you like freaked out. Tell us so we can help you through it.
Yeah, don't just freak out and walk outside.
Yeah, like don't hold it. Be like, oh my gosh, why you missed my sister? Bam, bitten to the neck.
Yeah. Like you gotta, I think in these situations you have to be strong, but you also that comes with being vulnerable, because they come together, and you have to be vulnerable in order to be the strongest that you guys can be. Like,
because sometimes you may have to shower together.
Yeah, you gotta get intimate.
I said it weirdly, but to be honest, you could divide it by gender to not make it so creepy. Also, yeah, actually, can we talk about that? Because that's not something talked about as often. Is, you know how some people get really horny during crisis?
Yes.
And that's something that I found really awkward, because it's like, yo, maybe because we're SX blind, to me it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It's like, that's
I was
not
thinking
an
about
option.
my SX Dom friend. That's why I said yes.
It's like, yeah, it doesn't make sense to me, because it's like, okay, I get it, you need it, but then that just adds another pressure to me, where I have to think of, how do you provide this person with a need that they can't control?
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, for us, like, we go through our SP and SO first, and then we'll think about SX. But people who are SX Dom, like, and it's not just, you know, sex, but they need to think about, like, the close connections. Yeah, they need to be
either attracted or repulsed by something.
Yeah, like, there needs to be something, and probably that constant input of all, like, the bad stuff that's happening. They need a strong counterbalance to that.
What's in it? Like they need some kind of stimulation somehow. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be sexual, but it just needs some kind of stimulation. Which for us, I don't actually need that much stimulation.
Yeah, me neither. For me, I just, like, if I'm surviving, I'm probably having a decent amount of fun.
And like, hey, I can have the crazy nights at the island once I obtain the island.
Yeah.
Right? If my goal is to isolate myself into an island,
so like we always say, right?
We
need to meet the needs of our SP and SO, and then we can look to SX. It's not that we hate SX stuff, like, in us.
But I'd be distracted.
Yeah.
Right?
Like,
Imagine if you're trying to pursue a romance, and like, oh gosh, and then you can't help but keep thinking, did I lock the door?
A romance during a zombie apocalypse. Like, it is not the time. It is not the time.
No. Imagine being pregnant during the zombie apocalypse. People be hauling condoms, man. You gotta be prepared. Like, don't start producing kids in a time like this. Like, hold off.
What if you did the do with someone who was morphing into a zombie, and then you don't know if, like, your baby will be a zombie?
It would be. Because there's that movie we saw, and then she gave birth to a zombie baby.
Oh, the one where she, like, gave birth to it within, like, an hour?
I don't know if it was within an hour, but it was a shopping mall setting.
Oh, crap. We're probably not talking about the same thing, but...
But okay, it was a shopping mall where it happened, and she was a pregnant lady, and then she got something happen to her, and then, boom, she gave birth, and the baby was like crawling, and it was like freaky as heck.
So then what? Like,
see, this is why you don't collude with people who can hold you down, because I don't want to wake up one morning with a baby going, at me. Like, you see how that's freaky? Like, no.
Yeah, and also, like, the mom probably would not leave the zombie baby.
I just realized. I just literally put my face as a meme for anyone.
Fine, I'll make sure to zoom into your face at that part. Just, like I do.
Oh my god. But isn't it crazy? Okay, anyways. So yeah, your goal is to be mobilized. Make sure you are available to have, and yes, resources run out. So you have to be able to be smart enough to know when to gather it. When's your best time? Are zombies sensitive to sound? Maybe you need to be more stealthy.
Or like, do we go out in the day or at night? Like, what kind of
maybe day is better zombies? Because that way you can see, right? Zombies can't really see because it's not like their eyes are actually working. They kind of, remember a lot of zombies, they don't really look. Do I even notice? Are they even eyesight related? If they
are zombies? Okay, let's first define our zombies, because I think it depends, because there's a lot of different types of zombies that media has shown. So
that's true.
Let's say our zombies.
Voodoo.
So we're saying our zombies are non-intelligent immediately, right? So they're non-intelligent. Okay. They don't have good eyesight. We could assume maybe that some of them have really good sense of, like, hearing, some of them, and some of them can smell really well, but, like, it depends on which ones.
And touch focus, because they have to, and they're not exactly mobile, because imagine if you have a broken leg and then you turn into a zombie, you can't really run.
They kind of make them run though, like, as though
they're not efficient. I feel like
that's true.
They're not efficient runners.
But also, I think the hard part, I agree with that, but also I think the hard part also about, like, zombies is the idea of, like, when you're killing them, if you shot a human in the chest and they don't die immediately, they'd still go down, but a zombie can keep going until they're completely dead. Right, like, they won't,
because it's a neurological thing.
Yeah, they won't stop moving. That's something.
So you need to, like, double tap with the brain, right?
Yeah,
you always have to double tap in the head to make it happen.
Exactly. Yeah, so it's just hard because as they're running at you, if you shoot, like, you can't. expect them to just go down right away.
Well, here's another thing too. Like, well, I come from Canada. It's not like we have guns
you guys have zombies
available.
over there? Oh.
Well, we don't have guns. We don't have availability of guns.
Yeah.
So again, I'm not saying that I advocate for guns.
so...
Obviously not. But I mean, what I mean is, in more so, like when you do need to defend yourself and you don't have a license to hold, firearms, the next big thing you have to go is where you're gonna find it. A lot of stories are fortunately able to come across, like police stations that were looted, and they have weapons, like the weapon room open because they were infected and didn't have time, right? But then that's also a dangerous situation to be in, because would you really want to walk into a place where a psycho could be there guarding the weapon storage?
Well, okay, I think that it could be fun to like to plan, like let's say I'm here and I have to get like 3 miles away from here and we have to do it on foot. Like there's a group of 5 of us, let's say, right? And we have to do it on foot because our cars don't work or something, right? I think it'd be really fun to like try to think through like what kind of traps, like let's say we have no guns either, like thinking through like the different ways we're gonna like get past them. If we split up, what's gonna happen? We're all gonna rendezvous at this one point. If we suspect anyone is infected, we'll quarantine them for a bit. If they're fine, then we take them back. If they're not fine, we shoot them, I don't know, like, or let them out.
Dedicate a place for it, right? Dedicate a room for that situation.
Up with the plan before it happens, so that when it happens, people aren't like, no, like.
Yeah, because why are you going to be confused when the whole point now is work? We got to be productive.
You have to decide the emotional things beforehand so that when it happens, you could be more level-headed about it, right? Like you're like, okay, we already decided.
I have a lot of string. So I have a lot of string, and you could set up little hot zones or zones around your house so that when something walks over it, it'll like tug at it, and then you will get a detection from inside your home.
That's really cool. That's a really good idea. Like, let's say
and
we
then
don't
have a lot of empty cans.
Yeah.
Hang it from there, and then they'll start like going and be like, oh, there we go. That's, and then you can have it labeled what side of the house it's coming from.
That's smart. I like that. See, we need
to
plan this together. You need to think.
Think because because do you want to let yourself be paranoid? Like, oh no, they're gonna eat me, and then you can't sleep properly at night.
Do you struggle with like sleeping the night before something exciting?
Depends. I would say typically the answer is yes, because when I am excited. But when it's a typical day, I'll be like, I could sleep through anything. Like
that's fair.
I could sleep through an earthquake.
Because for me, like, I don't know, it doesn't really make a big difference for me. I just kind of sleep. Like,
yeah. Well, for that situation, let's say the zombie thing happens, I might volunteer to stay up first shift. Because I want to make sure.
Right, because
I'm
especially if something goes wrong, I'll be so mad at myself for not taking the first
shift.
Like I feel like, why did I let this idiot do it when I could have done it right?
I feel like we both wouldn't sleep then. Like if we were the only ones in a zombie situation, like yeah.
I mean, at least the first day, so that we know what it's like, and then we can put in plans for the next night.
Actually, I want to have binoculars with me, because I do have binoculars in my house too. Because at night, and I want to be able to have like some form of, observation, because you want to be able to track them and study them.
Yeah.
On your free time, because you want to know their behavior style. You want to know what you're facing with, like what monster you're dealing with.
Right.
Because if at night, are they more active?
Right. You want to know if they're nocturnal, diurnal. Do they eat things besides just humans? Do they eat humans? Do they try to kill us? What are they trying to do?
Or are they only... Because if they're reactive to sound, then you know exactly what you need to do.
Yeah, you just
you
throw
create
something,
little sound bombs
boom,
or something.
and then you run. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah! Create little sound bombs, boom! And then like make it happen. Like imagine having an air horn. I would pack on air horns, honestly.
Or those little duck things that go, gah.
Yeah.
That would be really funny. If I wasn't part of that group and I heard that, I'd be terrified.
Yeah, well, I mean, with the air horn thing, tie it up, make it sound, throw it, they'll all follow that.
That's true, yeah.
And you don't gotta deal with anything anymore. It's no problem.
Yeah.
Study them. Study your enemy.
Always.
And gather your resources.
The more information you have, I mean, it's like obvious, but the more information you have, the more power you have. Like always look for more information.
The amount of thought that we put into the hypothetical zombie apocalypse situation.
This is important.
It is.
Also, I think in part 1 or earlier in this episode, you said like when it happens, not if. So
not if,
we're already under the assumption.
Any paranoia kicking in.
When it happens, we'll be ready.
I mean, we both played Plague Inc. Okay, we've done the zombie scenario.
We know what happens. We know what goes down. Let's see.
I feel like it would be smart to live in the Midwest when you have a basement.
Oh, true. I live in California. We don't have
either you
basements.
convert the basement for the zombie place, like for quarantine, or you could go there as a panic room. Wait, what happens? You live in the city. Wouldn't you just loot Beverly Hills? Or like Calabasas or something?
Yeah,
That'd be
probably.
Oh, I would love to
Probably.
travel down south. Like if I
Yeah,
were, okay, I
come
just thought
here.
about it. I'm like, if I were to have anything happen, I would have to travel to the nearest mansion, because if the person there doesn't even live in the house because they were at work when it happened, they died, that house is up for sale.
Well, I was also thinking like beach houses, like you could raid those, and like if you're along the coast, you're either cornered or you have a place behind your back that oh, that's really smart.
Because
We'll just go out to Hawaii and then chill.
Well, yeah. Well, the thing, and I also am really big on like making sure that your strength, you're optimal 100% every day. Because if you're like 50%, you could hold yourself back and you could lose your life in the process.
Right.
So it's like sometimes you cannot overexert yourself in a situation where.
And you can retreat really easily with a bow.
Yes.
I like that.
Yeah.
But also, I think something that we need for sure is like a long distance weapon, just because like how fast are these zombies moving, right? Like,
oh, that's right.
Because if
you
they're
want to be
fast,
able to make sure, yeah.
Yeah, then you want a long range. Like, if you don't have a gun, you at least want like a bow and arrow.
Or
you know?
If you have a lot of sticks that you could sharpen, like those long ass branches, sharpen those with a knife.
A barricade thing.
You can make a barricade, yeah, so they won't come near you. Plus, you have at least some form of.
And also, they're not smart, so they shouldn't be able to like figure out how to disable it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then I think the whole key here is not to fight them and defeat them, because you're not being.
Because you
stupid.
can't win. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't be stupid.
You win by surviving, not by killing everyone.
The whole goal is to retreat, not to Right, you only go violent when you need to.
Right, so I guess it comes down to like what is like how does it end, right? Like, because for Train to Busan, you had to go to the safe place. For one of the other movies, he was trying to find the cure because he was the only one left, him and his dog. I don't remember the movie.
I Am Legend.
Yes. Was that I Am Legend?
That was I Am Legend.
Okay,
I did not watch
honestly,
the whole thing,
I know
though.
I Am Legend, but yeah. I watched half of that movie. But
I just watched clips on YouTube.
Okay. Anyway,
Right?
yeah, but like that, so like you need like a cure, or you need a way of you find the people who are still fine, so I guess a safe place again, and then you get rid of everyone else somehow.
Yeah. Or yeah, because I think some people, well, you have to understand, some people might have different visions than you. I've dealt with this as managing different like servers, for example, that you may be joined by a common goal, which is survival. But once that's a level of survival has been achieved, you start to notice splintering. Splintering starts to happen because people have different goals.
So would you try to take, would you put yourself in the power position at that point, or would you like step aside?
I want to retreat and avoid and detach. Like that would be my instant action, because it's like, I don't want to deal with drama.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't want to be like in charge of anything at that point, but I do want to make sure that they don't screw up, because I don't want to be the only person left because they're stupid.
Thing is they're not going to want to let go of us right away, because we're the ones that come up with all this SP
That's
thinking.
true. Well, I think we need to be in like a vice president spot where we like feed it to the president, so it's not us. Actually, I don't even want to be that high up, but
I don't know. I've decided I know what I want to be. I want to be that ISTP type of person where I am, you trust me because I know what I'm doing, but you do not tell me what to do. Like, I'm just going to go and, like, if I want to leave, I'm going to leave. Like, I don't want to deal with that.
I think I can see the moment where, like, you know, we give them all our input and then we're like, okay, we're going to go. And then they suddenly all point their guns at us and they're like, no, stay. And I'll be like...
Well, the thing is it's not like they can threaten me because they can't kill you.
Yeah, exactly. They can't actually kill you because they need you. Because we're not going to give away everything. Okay, anyway, that
always
sounds
be prepared.
like...
Yeah, be prepared for betrayal, because that might happen too.
Yes. Okay, so let's, like, just summarize kind of what we've said and then close out this episode. So we said most important thing, you got to stay mobile, or be able to stay mobile. Keep your wits about you.
Keep your mentality being to retreat and to survive, not to save, not to gung-ho show off.
Don't be a hero.
None of those. Do not be a hero.
And again, you have to think about the goal, right? Because again, like, you're not trying to get rid of all the zombies initially. You're trying to survive, like you
study your enemy when you can.
Study your enemy.
Track them, because you have to go from being prey, because you think that the zombie's going to eat you, to hunter, like to be a predator.
And that shift can only come from observation
and intelligence.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you have the advantage because you are the one who has a brain that works. I don't know if zombies have brains. Hold up, I was like, that works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So that's it. I feel like that kind of rounds out what we're saying.
Or if you're not an SP dom like us, find yourself somebody like us and then tag along and hopefully you'll survive.
Oh, true. But also, like, have a useful skill. Like, maybe you're like
Please,
really good
yes,
aim.
please have
Like,
please be really good at knitting. So you can stuff.
Like, we could build a whole trap for them or something with like a net that you
like please
something.
have a skill of some sort, because if
like,
your skill is just playing like dead and being like a possum, that is what your job is gonna be.
Yeah,
it's gonna be my
like you don't want to be the person who we're like, you're the bait. Like, you don't want to be the bait.
I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm like,
make sure you have something useful.
Well, here's a little piece of advice, right? If you don't know what you want to do, be careful, because people will then project their use onto you. And
you have to make it clear what you are useful for, so that you are best used for what you are useful for. Yeah.
Right. If you're good for sentry and say, hey, I'm really good at spotting people, like, even if it's like, honestly, the basicest of skills can actually come in handy. If you're like, oh, I have 20/20 vision. I mean, I'm already losing with my glasses,
exactly.
right? Like, I'm definitely taking 20/20.
Yeah.
That can come in handy in my situation.
Right. Also, I would probably try to raid like a glasses store early on, honestly.
Oh, that's right.
Like, just grab a bunch of them, put them in your backpack.
Oh, get the cases, right?
Yeah. I mean, with the cases, you don't want to break all of them at once.
Imagine gathering being dumb enough to break it all. And waterproof, because you may have to take a river moment.
Yeah, that's true.
So basically know how to swim too, because that might happen.
I think there are basic survival skills that most people should try to have. Like, I guess nowadays, like, you don't need all of them, but they're nice to have. Like, you know, being able to swim.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing though, with the decline of this civilization, where we're gonna be resorting to hunting and gathering, and occasionally violence, right? Those starts coming up again. Right. By the way, I would be so fit during this whole apocalypse. I feel like with the amount of time I'm going out, getting things happening,
we're gonna come back out of this really buff.
I would have great abs. Like,
I would have nice arms. I'm just like,
I would have to spend every morning doing push-ups, because you need to, right? My legs, every day's leg day, because you're running. Yeah, I mean, that's the best. That's the best incentive to run on the treadmill. Run away from a zombie.
Okay. Anyway, thank you for joining us on our part 2 of what to do in a zombie apocalypse with 2 SP DOMs. So we'll see you.
Hopefully we have taught you imparted advice so that you don't come off completely useless.
Don't be useless.
Yeah, don't be useless.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
I feel don't give up. Help is on the way, and if it isn't, you are your own help. So right? Exactly. Value your skills.
Anyway, we'll see you in our next episode. Goodbye.
Bye.